Andrew Freed here at the Freedom Real Estate Podcast. I am excited and ecstatic to welcome our beautiful friend, Bruno Maluf. This guy's a freaking killer. He's a house flipper, owned a construction company, now does LVP wholesaling. Oh, and by the way, how many properties have you flipped? Over 100?
Over 100 homes.
Jesus Christ, and you're only 25 years old. So this is going to be a fantastic episode. Stay around, check it out. You're going to be freaking amazed. Okay, Bruno, for the listeners who don't know who you are yet, who is Bruno Maluf?
So, my name is Bruno Maluf. I'm 29 years old. I've been a real estate investor since 2020 when I bought my first 4-unit. I was 22, 23 years old, and I had just almost been homeless. My parents got foreclosed on, and they left the country. I didn't know where I was going to live. They were like, do you want to go back to Brazil with us or stay here and figure it out? I'm like, guess I'll stay here and figure it out. So I ended up getting an FHA loan on a 4-unit, starting my real estate investing journey. Flipped all those myself with my partner, Jeremy, who bought it with me. Ended up flipping tons of properties between 2020 and 2024. And then recently in 2025, I started an importing company where I import building materials and sell them to people like you here in New England.
So you are a serial entrepreneur. Have you ever worked for anybody before?
I have many times. I'll tell you a little bit about that. My first job ever was at Dunkin' Donuts, making $7.25 an hour. That was the minimum wage back then.
Oh, man.
Yeah, pretty rough. I hated it. I didn't think I would last, working for somebody for a while. I just didn't know how people did that their whole life. So I scraped up some money, tried my hand at some online businesses like e-commerce and stuff.
Okay.
And lost it all. Many times over. I probably failed my first 5 or 6 businesses.
Okay.
And every time I failed, I was in debt. I had no money, negative money.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to build back up so I would get another job. But every time I went back to get another job, my income kind of increased. So I went from Dunkin' Donuts to serving tables at a restaurant, which is kind of like sales. That was kind of like my first intro to sales. And then, from there, I went to nicer restaurants where I could get bigger tips and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I went to selling higher ticket stuff like selling cars. And then eventually I got into real estate.
Okay. So open my mind, Bruno. You failed many businesses in the past, and now you have a successful business. You had multiple successful businesses. You flipped hundreds of homes. You have a successful construction company. Now you have a successful LVP company. What was the difference between young Bruno and Bruno now? And what mistakes did you make in your first business versus what mistakes did you avoid now?
Yeah, that's a great question because young Bruno and old Bruno probably wouldn't even recognize each other.
Would they even like each other?
I don't even think so. I honestly, dude, I think back to old Bruno and I shudder. You know what I mean? You ever get that feeling? So I would say there's a lot of differences.
I'll tell you what, the old Bruno was a lot more chunkier.
That's for sure. 25% body fat, not an ounce of muscle. No discipline. Really, the biggest difference is just the time that it took for me to personally develop. So I will say this all the time. I'm sure if you see me online, you see it all the time. I attribute all of my success to personal development. And I believe that your income and many other, great things in your life will never really exceed your level of personal development. So for me, I started out like a broke idiot who didn't know anything about anything. So every time I tried and failed, I learned a little bit more. Every time I found a new mentor or I took a new opportunity on or I took another chance, I learned a little bit more, and I kind of chipped away at the bad habits and the bad character traits that I had and tried adding on a couple good habits and good character traits every time. And eventually I formed the character that you see today, who's able to run multiple successful businesses and manage people and find success.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. And in life, you can create any character you want in this quote unquote body, right? And you can work on any skills you want. You can shed any dead weight. You can get in any shape you want, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I think people fail to forget. They just assume that this is going to be your existence for the rest of your life. But as you know, like you just admitted, like you can't even imagine hanging out with your younger self at this point.
Yeah, we wouldn't get along at all.
Oh yeah, I would say, yeah. And to your point, Bruno, about like, failing businesses and then suddenly, finding that success, I would say one of the biggest things for me, at least like why I personally failed or didn't really get started early on, was like, I was a know-it-all. I thought I knew it all. I was not humble. I was uncoachable, right? And then like, lo and behold, like I didn't have the confidence or the skills or the knowledge to really start a business, right? And because it was mainly my mindset. Like, could you comment on that at all? Did that play a role in early on, or?
Yeah, definitely. And I actually think, to touch on that point a little bit more, I see this didn't happen to me. Luckily, I had a good mentor when I was young, who taught me to be coachable. He said, basically, I joined an MLM. And I didn't.
What's an MLM?
A multi-level marketing. So basically, like, what are some? The one I joined was called ACN. It was amazing for me, but not because I made any money in it. MLMs are basically about recruiting other people under you, like, pyramid scheme. Yes. And everything is kind of like a pyramid scheme in corporate America. But anyways, tangent aside, I joined this MLM and I had this mentor, Jeff Street, and I swear to God, this guy changed my life. I was an 19-year-old kid, and he's like, Bruno, as long as you're coachable and you're open-minded, you can make it in this business. And I didn't know that all those skills of being coachable would translate into everything else in my life.
Totally.
And so I was coachable at a young age. But here's something I noticed when you said that about other people that I know who are trying to make it and they're young and they're not coachable. They're arrogant. They think they know it all. They think they're hot shit. And then they have an opportunity to learn from someone or to, get taken under somebody's wing. And it's squandered because they're not coachable and they're not open-minded. So if you're asking about that, I would say that's almost like the foundation of success. If you're not coachable, you're totally screwed.
You're so right. And like, I see this time and time and time again. Like, I've worked at, Ivy level institutions. I've worked with some of the smartest people in the world. And you'd be surprised. A lot of times, the smarter you are, the more uncoachable you are, the more you think you're a know-it-all, right? Okay. And there's a reason why C students are the leaders of A students.
Speaking of, dude, I dropped out of college, and when I say dropped out, like, I politely left when I was failing out of all my classes junior year at UConn.
Yep. And look at you now. Like, you have a thriving business, and how many people do you employ?
At my peak, I had like 25 employees.
You're 25 employees, right? Like, I think that goes to show you somebody who has the right mindset, somebody who's coachable, somebody who's humble, can actually, create the thriving business that we see that you have today. So, Bruno, walk us through your first real estate deal. How did you find it? What did you make? And what did you learn from that opportunity?
Yeah, so that's... My first deal was a very, very special deal. So let me set the landscape for you. I had just failed my 5th business or something. I was working at Toyota selling cars to build back my bankroll, get my credit score back up.
Okay.
The entire time, I kind of knew I was headed towards real estate because, like, Bigger Pockets was really on the rise.
Oh, yeah.
It was all over YouTube. It was blowing up. So I had worked out this deal with my manager where I was cleaning cars and taking pictures of them to post on the website whenever I had downtime and I didn't have any like clients to sell cars to for extra income. And so typically when you have a commission-based job like that, it's hard to qualify for FHA loans and stuff like that. So I was able to bump my base salary up by doing that. I had my headphones in the entire time I wasn't with a customer, listening to every Bigger Pockets episode, any real estate podcast I could find, audiobooks about real estate.
Yep.
And so formulating the plan in real time as I'm saving up the money. And then one of my best friends, Marco, who ended up being my business partner for 5 years, he comes up to me one day. He goes, bro, I found an off-market 4 unit. You should buy it as your first deal. I know the seller, and he'll work with you on it, even though you haven't really done it yet. I'm like, okay, great. So, I have like $8,000 saved up, right? Like all my money. And the property, he's asking $250. Which, for a 4 unit nowadays is crazy. But back then, that was kind of aggressive. And so I'm like, whatever, let's do it. I trust you, Marco. I really want to get into this. I didn't even overthink it at all. I was like, whatever. I can get into a property for 3.5% down. Let's do it. So I talked to a lender. God bless this guy, Sean Toussaint from North Star Home Loans. He helped me out a lot. It took me 6 months to get qualified for this property.
Wow.
6 months because so at the end, I actually didn't even end up getting qualified for it. I had to either figure something out or let the deal go. It's a long story with a lot of nuance. I won't get into too many of the weeds there. But basically, I was calling one of my friends, Jeremy, who was working in the military in California, finishing up his last year of his contract. And we used to talk all the time, sharing goals and just motivating each other. Best friends growing up. And I'm like, dude, I've been working on this deal for 6 months. I think I'm going to lose it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't qualify for the FHA loan after all. And he goes, well, what if I do the deal with you and take the loan on myself? And I'm like, you would do that? He's like, yeah, I trust you. You've been talking to me about this deal for 6 months. It sounds awesome. So his contract finishes a week later. He comes here. We do the deal together. It's an FHA loan. He's on the loan by himself, and we're both on the title. And we get into this 4-unit. We're supposed to live there for a year, right? So we go to move in. The tenant's supposed to be out. He's not out. He's squatting, not paying rent. The other 3 tenants start not paying rent, giving us a hard time.
Wow.
We kick all of them out. We flip all the units with our bare hands. And we had some help from some friends, and we hired some people. We used to throw what are called like painting parties. We would buy pizza and beer, invite all our friends, and be like, here's a paintbrush, here's some beer. Like, let's party all night and paint this house.
There you go.
So we got it done. And by the way, it ended up appraising for like $235. So we had to come out an extra 15 grand out of pocket.
Wow.
So, but we still did it. And I hear a lot of times these days people are scared to get into a property that doesn't like, make $1 million as soon as they close on it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was willing to do whatever it takes to get into a property because I knew I wanted to be a real estate investor. So I feel like when you decide you want to be a real estate investor and there's an opportunity for you there, beggars can't be choosers, right? Like I'm trying to go from nothing to something. I'm trying to go from broke as a joke to like a real estate investor. So point is, if you have an opportunity, just go for it, right? And I did. And I ended up selling that property. So we flipped it. I lived there for free for a couple of years. Cash flowed like $2,000 a month while we were living there. Learned all about construction and real estate, and sold it for almost twice as much as we bought it for, like $430, $450, just a couple of years later.
So you made like 100 because you had a 50.
We each made $100,000 on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, most people here, that's how they got in their first deal was with a house hack, right? Like house hacks are a really, really great way to get started in real estate. And you ended up scooping up 4 units for what, like 20 grand out of pocket?
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. So kudos to you. And I recommend every viewer here get started with a house hack, preferably even a 4-unit. They're very rare, but they are by far the best type of house hack you can find.
100%.
So you wrote a practical guide to wholesaling real estate, right?
I did.
Interesting.
How did you know that?
ChatGPT did that. So
wow.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I actually just made a sale on that book on Amazon.
Let's go. No, but like seriously, you wrote that book. Like, what do beginners consistently get wrong based off your experience of flipping and wholesaling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties?
Great question. And there's one glaring thing that most beginners get wrong every time they're getting started with wholesaling or flipping or any sort of like off-market acquisitions. The sheer amount of volume that is required to consistently find deals or even just to find your first deal. People think they're going to go on MLS or call some expired listings and be like, hey, buddy, house didn't sell. Would you take $5 for it? It's like, no, that's not going to work. For me, when I started finding off-market deals consistently, I had a lead generation system that I was reaching out to 5,000 homeowners per day.
Wow.
Yes, through various different marketing platforms. I started out handwriting letters, and I would write 100 letters a day. It took me a month to get a deal from that. So I was like, crap, I need to find a way to reach out to like 1,000 people, 5,000 people a day. So I tried email, I tried SMS, RVM, all sorts of different outreach methods until I found one that worked. And then I 10x the volume on that and then just scaled like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up one of the biggest concepts to be successful in business, and it's the marketing funnel, right? Understanding the marketing funnel and understanding, when you put inputs into the marketing funnel, and it ends with sales, right? But the more inputs you put at the top of the funnel, the more end results you get at the bottom of the funnel, right? And you can continuously optimize throughout that process, right? But your thought process was, rather than fine tune the funnel at the bottom of it. I'm just going to fill it to the top with
Yes.
thousands and thousands and thousands of leads.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of people, they'll get lost in the minutia. Have you ever heard, I'm sure you have, don't spend major time on minor things?
I haven't heard that, but I've heard it in other ways.
In other forms. I see you employ that in forms
For
in your
sure.
business. But for me, I heard it from a mentor. He said, don't spend major time on minor things. And for me, minor things are like tweaking the funnel, tweaking your script, or like trying to close, instead of 5% of your leads, closing 10% of your leads. And it's like, okay, you can do that if you're already a relatively big business or you've already kind of established a good amount of deal flow. But if you're closing one deal every 6 months, like most beginners are when they get started, why are you trying to optimize like these little things? You're spending so much major time on minor things. You should just be trying to find a way to present your offer to, 10, 20, 100 times more people on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, you're simply referring to Pareto's principle, right?
Yes.
Focus on the 20% of inputs that create the 80% of results.
Exactly.
Right.
And in the beginning, it's all about volume, and just like if you're wholesaling, it's about talking to as many homeowners as you possibly can. Same as if you're trying to flip houses.
Okay. Fantastic recommendation. So your recommendation to new beginner investors is, if you're gonna try to invest, if you're gonna try to find off-market properties, it's all about volume.
Yes.
Right. And that reminds me, did you play video games back in the day?
I did.
I played World of Warcraft. Did you?
I was a RuneScape nerd.
Okay, I was a little bit of a geek, right? But in World of Warcraft, I was what they called this shadow mage or whatever, and I needed all this gold to compete with everybody else because my class sucked. Right? So what I did was I went to this place and I farmed these stones and I had to kill like 200 minions, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when I got this stone, I got 300 gold, right? And that's a lot of gold, right?
Sure.
And it's literally the same with life, right? You can farm and farm and farm. And when you find that little nugget, that little gem, like that can make you bank, right?
Yes.
And that's exactly the case, in my opinion, to be successful in real estate and to be a successful wholesaler as well.
I agree with you. And to kind of dive into that a little more, I love the video game analogy, because in World of Warcraft, I'm sure it's similar to RuneScape. You had skills that you could level up, right?
Totally.
And you had quests that you could do to unlock new areas and maybe new training methods or whatever, new items, right? And if you did those and you unlocked those and you built your skills, you could gain more gold per hour, right?
Yeah.
Same thing in real life. If you build your skills like sales, marketing, leadership, even personal development, you can increase your gold per hour in real life as well. You increase your dollars per hour or whatever metric you're tracking with. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I love that parallel with video games.
Yeah, and I mean, I also think that goes to show you, to your point, it's also about growing a few skills and not growing many, many, many skills, right? Like so many unsuccessful investors out there, in my opinion, get shiny object syndrome. They try to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 strategies, and they're shit at every single one of them.
Big time.
Right? Like, you just got to focus on one or two things and become fucking epic at it.
I agree.
Right? And you could literally choose anything. You could do short-term rental. You could choose multifamily. You could choose flips. You could choose new development. But if you're the best of the best of the best of that, nobody's going to get in your way.
100%. And for me, I chose the skill of off-market acquisitions, and I got really good at that, better than most people around me, and it served me really well.
Absolutely. I can tell personally. I mean, I've done how many deals with you? I think I closed on one this week, right?
Yeah, I think I just wholesaled you a 4-unit, right?
Yep. So 3-unit.
3-unit with one commercial.
Is that a 4-unit? Oh. See, I just got an extra unit. Even
hey,
now. There you go. So you've sourced hundreds of off-market deals.
Yes.
What does your lead gen machine look like today?
So I've actually kind of eased off of sourcing off-market deals, but here's something I can tell you. When I was at my peak, my lead gen machine looked like, literally, I would be like, okay, what market do I want to find properties in? Download a list of every homeowner who didn't buy the property in the past 2 years. Why? Because if they just bought it, there's probably no equity, there's probably no deal, right? But everyone else, I want to at least market to them and see if I can work with them. And then I hit them with everything. I hit them with direct mail. I hit them with cold calls. I hit them with SMS. I hit them with RVM, ringless voicemail. I hit them with cold email. And then I would nurture them. And so basically, any deal that could have happened, I wanted the chance at talking to these people. And so that was beneficial for 2 reasons. 1, any potential deal, at least I had a chance to talk to them. And 2, because I was having so many conversations, how fast do you think I improved on my sales skills when it came to talking to these homeowners. Extremely fast. I got so many reps in, right? And although I eased off, I literally haven't marketed for a deal in probably 2 years. Yeah, I just wholesaled you a deal this week. How is that possible? Because I had automated my follow-up. Like the seller who was the owner of the home you just bought, I was following up with her for 2 years. I have the text messages to prove it. And I do a lot of deals like that. And because I did all that marketing, between the past 6 to years to last year or 2 years ago, because I front loaded all that work, I still get leads hitting me up out of nowhere that I marketed to back then. Hey, Bruno, I'm ready to sell now. Are you still interested? Or, hey, you texted me 2 years ago, or we talked on the phone 3 years ago. I wasn't ready, but I'm ready now. Are you still interested? So, don't underestimate putting in all that volume in. And it's not like all those deals are going to come to you at once.
You bring up a really, really, really good point. It's like, I'm sure when you first started doing off-market direct-to-seller marketing, like you were talking to sellers, you probably really bad at it,
I was
right?
terrible.
But you put so many reps in that over time you became an expert.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's everything with life. I mean, personally, I grew up like I was super introverted. I was hopped up on Adderall because of ADHD medication. It was like, I couldn't even talk to anybody.
Yep.
My first job out of college was a customer service rep at Blue Cross Blue Shield in Mass. I was forced to talk to people 8 hours a day for 2.5 years. I got good at talking.
That served you really well.
Yeah, I got good at talking, right? Because I put the freaking reps in. And you did the same with wholesaling. You did the same with talking with sellers. And like, I think that's something that people can't discount. It's like you're going to suck at doing things when you first do. And you just got to get over that feeling of uncomfortability.
Yep. You always start the skill at level 1.
Totally. Like, remember your first time in front of a camera? Did you just feel super awkward?
Dude, not even that. I was looking back at old film that I had from some of my first times in front of a camera, and I cringed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, viewers, pull up my first Instagram video ever and look at me. It is the most awkward experience, but I needed to get it out there because I needed to put the reps in, right?
Yes. And a lot of people get stopped at like the fear of embarrassment or like, what are my friends going to think and all that crap. Like, you can't let that stop you.
Absolutely. So, you were a successful flipper and then you ended up starting a construction company.
Yes.
How has owning a construction company changed the economics of your deals? Because you first started just wholesaling, but then you kind of took on different parts of you more or less got vertically integrated, right?
Yes. And so at a certain point when we had our deal flow down, we were like, okay, we're doing all these deals. We can't really do more marketing. Like, okay, what am I going to do? Reach out to 50,000 people a day? Like, at a certain point, that plateaus, right? And we were like, okay, how can we make more money on each deal? Vertically integrating. So we started a construction company, and we were able to save a lot of money on labor that way. I would say probably like, this is going to sound crazy, but we probably saved like 60-70% on labor by controlling the labor force rather than subbing it all out.
Wow.
And it makes sense, right? Because these people need to make their margin and pay for food on the table for their family.
Totally.
So we did all that. And then a couple of years after, it was like 2022, I decided to try to save money on materials as well. That's kind of how LVP Direct came to be. I was doing 12 flips at once at one time. We had just closed on like 6 at once. We had 6 ongoing, and they all needed LVP floors. And I was like, there's got to be a way I can save more than just like the Lowe's freaking program or Home Depot contractor program. So I looked into importing materials. I found a factory overseas. I imported 1 container. It wasn't crazy savings or anything, but I was able to save like 25% on one of the most commonly used materials across all of our flips. And I was like, wow, there's real opportunity here. So, vertically integrated with the labor, vertically integrated with the materials. There was probably other ways we could have vertically integrated as well, but that's what I tried. And, it ended up allowing us to get our flips done for much less than most other of our competitors. So we were able to even say yes to deals that most people couldn't take on because their margin was too slim.
Yeah, so you saw a problem in the market, you solved it for yourself, and then you realized, oh crap, this might actually be a valuable business venture.
Exactly. And then years later, once I slowed down with the flips, I turned it into a full business, and now it's amazing.
So you bring up a good point. So share a quick example of a heavy value add deal where construction turned a skinny deal into a win?
Ooh. Okay, I can think of one. We had closed on a 28 unit portfolio in
Okay.
Killingly, Connecticut.
And you didn't call me then. Thank you very much. But continue.
Hey, this was one of my like second years in. I don't even know if we really were talking about that. But the deal wasn't meant to be this profitable because every unit needed to be flipped. And this was like 28 units on 8 different buildings on 5 different parcels. Okay. So it was kind of a complex type of deal. But because we were able to use our own crews throughout and just go house to house to house, and we didn't hire a GC, which typical GC fees are like 30% or more.
Yeah.
We were able to save. So this was one of those examples of a deal where the rehab was higher than the purchase price.
Wow.
So the construction was the biggest bulk of money that needed to be spent on this.
Sure.
So every penny we saved on construction saved a lot across the entire deal. And so if we didn't have our crews there, it probably would have cost us like $1.5 million to flip all these units. And I think we got it done for like $600,000, bro.
Wow.
So we were able to make an extra $900,000. And a penny saved is more than a penny earned because you don't have to pay taxes on a penny saved. So
yes. So I mean, I think that kind of leads into my next question.
Sure.
It's what are the biggest renovation mistakes you see investors making today?
The biggest mistake I see people make is hiring the cheapest subs. No matter what. That always screws people.
Oh, yeah.
Some people never learn the lesson, but
for sure,
it's an expensive lesson. I learned it very early on my first flip. I remember this clearly. I had we had hired a painter, and we had like taken 10 different bids, and this guy came in for like $1,100 in labor to paint the whole house.
Wow.
Should have been a red flag, right?
Oh, yeah.
I kicked myself thinking about it. We had to repaint that house, of course, entirely. Of course. So we ended up paying somebody a good price on top of what we already paid him, on top of the holding costs of all the time that it took. And the cheapest guy always takes forever too.
Totally.
Uses the wrong material. You have to undo his work. So instead of just paying like, $5,000-6,000 to get the house painted properly, and it was a small house, we had to probably pay like $10,000-11,000 after it was all said and done.
So I think you bring up a really good point. And when you're searching for a vendor, you typically get one of 3 things, right?
Yeah. Speed, price, and quality.
Exactly. And I think your and mine both biggest takeaway through experience alone is we do not want price.
No.
Right? Like, trust me, I like price.
Sure.
I will take it into consideration. But typically, to your point, going with the cheapest contractor, you end up having to fix it in the long run.
It ends up being the most expensive.
It costs you more money in the long run because you have to fix it twice.
Yes, and you don't get the quality.
Exactly.
So trying to hire somebody for the cheapest price and still get a high quality job done is the lazy way of doing it. Because if you hire a sub to do that, you're thinking, I just sign the contract, give him a deposit, let him do his thing, come back and pay him at the end. There is actually a way to lower your cost without sacrificing quality, but it requires more effort. You can't be lazy about it. And you can do it the way that we did it by hiring our own people and managing them ourselves. Because paying people hourly is always going to cost you less than paying people by the job. Of course, because they have their overhead, they have insurance, they deserve to get paid more. So we were able to lower our cost without sacrificing quality by building that team of employees, if that makes sense. So you can do it, but you can't be lazy about it. And you know this, you've built a huge team. Right? Imagine if instead of vertically integrating Freedom Management, you hired a property management company. You'd probably still get good service if you hired a good one, but it would be way more expensive to get that service, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you're exactly correct. I mean, I think the solution behind that is bringing it in the house, right?
Right, and not being lazy about it.
Not being lazy about it, being vertically integrated, right? Like, I think to your point, that's where you make your money. And that made you over $600,000-700,000 in one deal alone.
Yeah, one deal alone.
So you made a big pivot into launching your own LVP flooring company. What sparked that move?
Yeah, so the biggest spark was 5 years ago when I was doing all those flips and I tried my hand at importing materials and I saw just how much of a margin I could save on it, even just trying it like whimsically on my own without having a full business plan and without really like trying to find the most efficient way to do it. And I told myself back then, I was like, in the future, once I'm not managing all these crews and doing all these flips, I'm going to turn this into a proper business, like a product business that I can scale and be proud of. And so earlier this year, that I found myself in that position where I didn't have many flips going on. I didn't have all those responsibilities and burdens that were taking up a lot of my time. And I dove deep into the business plan that I had started. I flushed it out. I put in like $100,000 of my own capital to brand it, get some inventory here, and establish my initial client base and get their feedback, you being one of them. And everybody loved it. The material was amazing. The value was there. I was saving money and time for all my customers. And demand was high. So I said, you know what? Screw it. Put even more of my money in, raised money, and now here we are. I started this in February. It is now December, and I've sold almost 500,000 square feet.
Wow, that's quite impressive. So walk us through how you sourced LVP overseas. How did you identify and vet suppliers?
So I can't give you all my secrets, right? But, I mean, the truth is, it's just trial and error, right? Like, I tried 5 different factories.
I mean, ultimately, nobody's going to do what you're going to do. They're not going to, like, I'm just saying this, they're not going to, like, buy 100,000 square feet and wait 3 months for it to get shipped overseas.
Right. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But like, I can tell you this, it was a lot of trial and error. So like right now I have production agreements with factories overseas where I have to buy a certain amount of LVP every year to maintain my pricing and the relationship I have with them. So obviously there's a big barrier to entry to this business. But at first I was just paying like relatively high prices and trying out different factories, hiring agents overseas to like third-party agents who would go to the factories, give me a full detailed breakdown report, take photos of everything, test the product. I'm talking test it for quality, test it for safety, like test it for formaldehyde, asbestos, all the stuff that you have to be careful of. I probably spent like $25,000 in 3 months of my time on just research and development before I picked which factories I wanted to go with for my production contracts. And then after that, it was just like, all right, buy it, wait for it to come overseas. I established a warehouse here. I established a distribution network, and I leveraged my personal brand and my real estate network to sell the product.
So what were the biggest early lessons and mistakes from starting this company?
Wow. There was a lot of lessons. I don't think I made too many mistakes because I was already kind of seasoned with business and I had gotten a lot.
You already went bankrupt 3 or 4 times.
Like
right?
I got those.
It only happened so many times.
I got those mistakes out of the way with other businesses when I was young. But lessons, I definitely learned that, interestingly enough, people are very risk averse. And I'm actually more open to risk than most people. That's something that I learned. Because when I was telling people about this, and I'm like, yeah, here's what I'm doing. And they're like, well, have you ever been there? I'm like, no. They're like, well, then how do you know they're not just going to not send you the stuff? Or how do you know that they're not just going to steal your money and all this stuff? And I'm like, well, then they're not going to get my business for the rest. Like, I'm going to scale to millions and millions of dollars, And I feel like people stop at like what if this bad thing happens? What if that bad thing happens? And I noticed that actually across all businesses, like even real estate. Like how many times do you hear people saying, oh, I want to get into landlording, but what if the tenant doesn't pay me? Or like all this crap.
You know who you hear that from?
Who?
People who have never done it.
Literally, and never will if they keep that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, for people like that, I mean, if I get advice from that, I would ask myself, have they actually done what I'm trying to do? And the answer is no. Their opinion means absolutely nothing to me.
Exactly.
Right? But in your particular case, if I ran across the largest LVP wholesaler in the nation and I proposed my idea and they had some feedback, maybe they have some validity to their point.
Yes.
Right?
Not all feedback's created equal.
Exactly. One of my favorite books, Principles by Ray Dalio.
Ooh.
Like that book? You heard about that book?
One of my first great reads.
Yeah. And one of the cool points he makes in there is
meritocracy.
That's a good point, right? Weighted decision making.
Yes.
Right? So he typically says like the best decisions are typically made in a group of 3 to 5 people. And within that group, somebody's decision might have more weight than somebody's else, right? 100%. So for example, in multifamily real estate, if I was in that room, my decision would be very highly weighted, right?
Definitely.
But if I'm in that room and we're talking about playing basketball, my opinion is going to be not weighted whatsoever.
100%.
Right? So you really have to take that into consideration when taking advice and taking guidance from other people, because it could really lead you down the wrong path where they have no intention of even leading you.
Yeah. And a lot of people do this unconsciously. Like, they don't really realize that they're giving you awful advice. They're trying to help, but like they don't have the merit. Like they have no foot to stand on. Like they don't know anything about what they're trying to tell you about. So you really have to be careful. And what one of my mentors told me was you have to stand guard at the gate of your mind, basically. Like, you can't let those misguided thoughts in from those people who have no merit.
Absolutely. You are totally right. So, bring us back to kind of young Bruno. Like, if you were going to give advice to young Bruno, 3 pieces of advice to be successful in life and in business, what 3 pieces of advice would that be?
Wow. How young are we talking here? Before my first business?
You tell me.
Okay.
You tell me.
I mean, if I could go back, hear me out. You're talking to a guy who in 2016, 2017, I had a Bitcoin mining company that I somehow lost all my money in. And Bitcoin was at like $6,000. So one thing I would say is probably just fucking hold the Bitcoin.
Okay.
But no, really, what the meta lesson there is be patient. I wanted to get rich with Bitcoin that year. I remember writing on the board with my business partner, Marco, at the time, make $1 million this year. I was 17, 18, bro. I should have just wrote, keep buying and holding forever or something like that. Like, make $10 million in 20 years. So
totally.
The biggest lesson that young Bruno never figured out was, instead of trying to make quick money or big money fast or get rich quick, do the get rich for sure method. Like, look long term and be patient, because dude, the 10 years, the 20 years, they're going to pass anyways. So you might as well make sure that you're getting those long-term compounding gains instead of trying to look for something that's going to make you rich overnight.
The question is, do you want to play chess or do you want to play checkers?
Yeah, checkers is a quick game. You can finish it in 5 minutes maybe.
Exactly. I want to play chess, right?
Right, of course.
And I mean, I think that's very applicable to many components of your life. And, I think a lot of people, I'll just give you one quick analogy, taxes, right? People think, you got to play checkers when it comes to taxes. I buy this thing, I don't pay taxes. That's not how you avoid paying taxes. You got to be very strategic on how you avoid paying taxes. In the beginning of the year, you need to understand how much income I'm making. As a result, how much depreciation do I need? What does this equal for how much property I need to buy? How many cost segregation studies do I need to do? And you can reverse engineer your business plan throughout the year to result in you paying no taxes. That's playing chess.
Yeah.
Right? Playing checkers is waiting 3 months before the end of the year and be like, oh crap, I got this huge tax bill.
Hey, who's the good accountant?
And then they're buying the really crappy piece of property for the depreciation. That's playing checkers. Right? Like, I like to play chess.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good analogy.
So I always like to give tactical advice to our audience. If you had to start from zero in 2025 with $5,000, what would your first 30 to 60 days look like?
I would be reading and listening to books and audiobooks like crazy, and I would be working on personal development. That would be my foundation. And it wouldn't even stop at 60 days, but I would be spending probably like 4 to 5 hours working on Bruno every day. And then the other 4 to 5 hours, actually probably at least 8 hours a day, I would be making active income. If I was starting from nothing and I had no sales skills, I'd probably pick sales as like one of the first skills that I would learn, try to find a good sales job, and then just try to find ways to keep increasing my active income there. This might be controversial, but I would spend 0 time looking at passive income. I would spend 0 time looking at investing my $5,000 outside of investing in myself. I would probably hire a mentor or try to get in front of somebody who could mentor me to speed up the process as well. And eventually I would build a foundation of my character, my active income, and then I would start looking for some investments, because my character would be the type of person who would look for strategic long-term investments that are actually going to build wealth, or opportunities where I can increase my active income. And then I would build up that nest egg to where when I did find these opportunities, I can act on them. And additionally, if I'm legitimately working on myself 4 hours a day, you'll get to the point where you can build your network really well. And if you find an opportunity that's too big for your person, so like if I found an opportunity I couldn't fully take advantage of myself, I'd be able to leverage that network that I built And because I was working on myself so much, people would trust me with the opportunity, and I'd be able to partner with someone or raise money or do something to take advantage of those opportunities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like all of that. I think one of the key points there is, find a mentor via either pay for it or provide them value.
Yep.
But the key, in my opinion, of finding a mentor, especially in whatever field you're looking to get into, is it's literally a cheat code. Like, you ever play GTA and you put a little cheat code in, you get all this money and all these cars. It's like, literally somebody spent 10, 20, 30 years figuring out the formula to do it. You could waste 5 years trying to figure out that formula. You can pay them a load of money. They can tell you what to do, and you just do it.
100%. And funny enough, I think it's never been easier to find a mentor than it is now in 2025, 2026. Like, imagine our parents or our parents' parents trying to find a mentor back in the day. Like, they couldn't go online.
No.
Bro, if you have an iPhone or even an Android, you can go and find a mentor same day.
I had people ask me every single day to be their mentor.
Me too.
And I tell them no.
Of course not, yeah. But sometimes.
But what I will say is, if one of them went out of the way to provide me value, and I would reciprocate and take them under my wing. Yes. That's the key with getting a mentor, is you got to provide them value. You can't be a burden to them.
No, value first. Always lead with value.
Absolutely. So for someone with a W-2 job listening, what's the simplest, most realistic path for them to get their first rental or flip in the next 12 months?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think everybody with a W-2 job has the opportunity to do that as well. The first thing you have to do is take control of your finances. So most people aren't going to do this. So you have to understand, you can't be like most people. What I was doing when I was working W-2 jobs, I would write down in a notebook. I had 2 columns, income and expenses. Every penny I made, I would write on the left side. Every penny I spent, I would write on the right side. Most people don't know what their cash flow is every month, if they even have it. You don't know where your money's going. Would you trust someone like that with an opportunity? They don't know where it all goes? No. So God, life, the universe, they're not going to give you an opportunity. So first thing I would do is take control of my finances. Then I would make sure I'm cash flow positive, right? And make any tweaks on my lifestyle, I would have to. And then you just have to search for those opportunities. So if you're saying I need to buy a property within 12 months, man, that's plenty of runway. If you just put it on your to-do list to do something for 30 minutes to an hour every day that can help you find a property, whether it's underwriting deals that are on the market, or talking to brokers, or talking to wholesalers, or even talking to homeowners, whatever route you want to take, just make sure you're taking consistent action on a daily basis. Even if it's 15 minutes, just don't go 2 days in a row without doing it.
Absolutely.
That would be my advice.
Yeah. Habits are key, right? Yeah. And like you said, you got to have a strong defense in the form of understanding your expenses, and you got to have a strong offense in the form of creative active income, right? Then
100%.
Then once you get that opportunity, you can attack it.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, there are people I meet and it's so sad. Like, they have the opportunity to buy a property. Like, I knew this guy, I'm not going to say his name. We'll call him John. Okay. His mother.
What a dummy. Sorry,
fuck you, John.
Let's continue.
How can you do this, John? No, but seriously, like, okay, to be real with you, I feel like he disgraced his family lineage. I don't want to get too.
I'm sorry, John.
Dude, his parents passed, and they had this property, and it had some debt on it, and he could have taken over the debt and had a house to move into. Currently, he was paying rent. And instead, because he wasn't in control of his finances and he didn't have that foundation like we just talked about,
totally,
he wasn't able to. And that property went to a house flipper that I know. And that guy made like $200,000 on it.
Wow.
And his parents toiled for years to get that into the family. It should have been his, but he just wasn't prepared to receive the blessing, the opportunity. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Right?
What a dummy, John.
God damn it, John.
God damn it.
I hope he's kicking himself. I hope he watches this. Because, man, that happens often. It just slips right through your hands. Golden opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, opportunity is great, but if preparation isn't there, it's pointless.
Correct.
Right?
It's going to go to someone who's prepared.
Exactly. I mean, that's why, when I house hack a property, I leave it, I always HELOC it, right? I always try to get that equity available because I never know I'm going to need it, right? Like, if an opportunity presents itself, you got to be ready to pounce within minutes, because in real estate, things move so freaking quick.
Yeah, in life too, man. It's crazy.
Absolutely. So to bring this kind of podcast to a close, let's give our audience some really good tips. So what are top 2 to 3 book recommendations that truly move the needle for you in business, in entrepreneurship, and in life?
Okay, so for business and entrepreneurship, I have to say Think and Grow Rich. That was the number one for me.
Classic.
I could almost tell you the 12 chapters right now. For personal finance, The Richest Man in Babylon. Super simple. It's very story-like. Teaches you how to save, how to invest, it teaches you about the philosophy of money a little bit because they don't teach that in school. That's very important. And then for like life and personal development, I'll give you 2 here. 2 of some of my favorite books, Pushing to the Front and 12 Against the Gods. 12 Against the Gods was written by William Bolitho, I'm pretty sure. And then Pushing to the Front is written by Orison Svet Martin. Old books, both of them very old books, but Pushing to the Front, extremely inspirational. And it talks about people like Abe Lincoln and other people who were real in history that you kind of learn about in school, but you don't really understand like what they went through and how much they really pushed through to get to the front of whatever field they were in. And then 12 Against the Gods. I think Elon Musk recommended it on Twitter one day or something. And I was like, oh, let me read it. Oh my God, bro. Such an inspirational book. It talks about 12 of some of the most iconic people in history. Like, I won't even spoil it. You just have to read it if you're listening to this. It's probably like $10 online. I don't know. I found this really old rustic copy, like falling apart at the seams, that I bought on eBay for like $200 or something. And I kept it in like a vacuum sealed bag. Like that's how much this book changed my life. So
$200?
Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot of copies of this?
There's not. And I lent it to a friend, Marco. You better be taking good care of that.
Oh, I know, Mark. I'm gonna get a copy of that book.
No, not that one. I've been asking for it back. I love books, dude. I'm a big reader. Yeah. I have a library at my house.
Really?
Yeah. You want to know what my most valuable books are?
Yeah.
My journals.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have about 22 journals right now. Most of them filled completely.
About what? Like daily habits or gratitude?
So I don't journal as in like most people think about like a diary or whatever. I journal. Typically what I do is I write my goals and then I write my daily to-do list next to my goals every day. That way I'm making sure that I'm doing stuff to move the needle towards achieving those goals every day.
Yeah.
And I can probably go like a week without rewriting my goals, but then I'll notice my to-do list start getting a little off track and I'm like, wait, is this really like, am I spending time on the things that are important here? I'll rewrite my goals again, kind of rewrite where I'm at with them, and then,
You do all by hand, pen, and paper.
All by hand. I have one here actually right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll show you after.
I transitioned to digital to-do lists, and I seem to be way more easy, but I definitely noticed that the act of writing it down kind of makes it like a little bit more solid, like you give somebody a promise.
Yeah.
Versus the digital things like, I didn't get to it, not a big deal. Make it the next day thing.
It's also more real, right? Like how much bullshit do we do on our phones?
Yeah.
That like disappears into the ether forever. Like there's games on your phone.
I don't have games on my phone. I delete that shit.
Sure.
You got 2 phones actually.
There's social media on your phone,
work
right? Someone can call you while you're doing your to-do list. Something can pop up notifications. Yeah, you got do not disturb, whatever. Nothing's going to bother me in my notebook. And I can reference other things. And here's another thing. I have all my notebooks on my bookshelf. Sometimes I'll go back and reread some of my old goals and some of the old ways I was thinking on paper. And dude, there's so much value in that.
Really?
Yes, dude. And like, you get so much sentimental value. I feel so proud of myself going back. I was rereading one of my journals from like 4 years ago. It was like save $10,000.
And you're like, boom.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, look how far I've come. Yeah. Now my goals are like sell 1 million square feet of LVP this year.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, it's really cool. And then one day I'm going to give all of those journals to my children.
Ooh.
And they're going to be able to see my journey from first person.
That's so cool.
Right? So
there's actually a thought somebody had that's like if you can come up with a service where, as people pass, they can get like a bunch of video or audio of them, and then you make like a little AI model. So you can say to that person, hey, what would this person have said, in this situation, or talk to them like a past relative, for example. That's almost the same thing as they're getting like your exact experience. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool use case for AI. Speaking of AI, we didn't talk about any of that yet.
You want to do some AI automation talks for your business?
We can talk some AI. You know what's funny? I think, again, with the Pareto distribution, I think 80, maybe even 95% of what people use and think about using AI for is just total BS shiny object syndrome.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, 90% of the internet is used for corn. You know that, right?
Is it
You didn't know that?
90%? What?
It's at least 70 based on like certain like traffic patterns.
Holy shit.
But it's like an overwhelming amount. Like people just waste it to its they do not use it to its full potential.
That's insane. Yeah, so like a lot of people try to use AI to make things easier for them or to shorten the time. Basically, they use AI to be lazy.
Yeah.
The best way I can put it. You know, for me, I try to use AI in a different way. Like, for example, I use ChatGPT every day, and if I looked at my screen time, probably like, actually, let me pull it up right now because I'm curious.
2 hours, 3 hours.
Maybe a little less than that. We'll see. And I'll show you here. I'm a very transparent guy. Screen time. Oh, and my screen time will fucking throw you for a loop, bro.
What's that?
Oh, hold on. Let's just do this.
10 hours a day? It's not too bad. That's normal.
Well, I just got a new phone, but like Tuesday was 14 hours, for example. But, okay, ChatGPT, 45 minutes.
I like how Instagram's at the very top, like very high school girl view.
No, so I actually have a rule for myself. So I post 3 times a day on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I have a rule for myself for social media where I produce more than I consume.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, yeah, you see like 2 hours and 30 minutes on Instagram. I posted, I think, 5 videos yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show you my stats too. It's going pretty crazy these days. But,
Nice.
for example, ChatGPT, 45 minutes a day on average, right? Today, it looks like it was less, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
All I use ChatGPT for, tracking all of my meals and macros
Ooh, there you
of
go.
everything that I eat. You know, I'm very into health and fitness.
Yeah.
So
But there's already different apps for that, like Fitbit can do that
they
for you.
suck.
Really?
They suck ass compared to the way I use ChatGPT for it.
But so if they're getting from the same database, like whatever, like pound of chicken
They're
is X
not,
amount.
because it won't talk back with you. I
Really?
can say, "Hey, chat, where am I at?" And it'll be like, "Oh, you've had 1,200 calories." I'm like, "Recommend me a meal from Outback Steakhouse that'll give me my protein goal, but won't blow my calories out." My
Oh,
Fitness
okay.
Pal will not do that for you,
I see.
right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I use it as like a better Google and
Mhm.
a kind of an interactive journal,
Yeah.
like where I can write my thoughts down and it'll give me a little bit of feedback.
Yeah.
I try not to use it to help me make big decisions because I think it's just a language model at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
very useful for like gathering data and presenting options.
Mhm. One thing I'm really excited if it moves into this direction is if you interact with it so much, like just like one specific model or one specific service, to the point where it builds a model of you that's so accurate that's basically it knows you better than you do, and then you can say, "Hey, I'm struggling in this area or whatever," and it says based on your weaknesses, based on what it's seen you do in the past, based on if you like listen to its advice in the past or whatever, how best to guide you so that you're like a better version of yourself. Except for if, somebody steals it and uses it against you, how to market best to you.
Ha ha ha.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's going to happen.
But if you can like
anyway.
have like on a private server or like keep it on your phone off the grid, have it study you and give you personal advice. I think that would be super useful.
That's interesting.
But we're like probably a decade or 2 away from that.
Who knows? I do think there's a lot of cool use cases for AI.
Mhm.
I actually don't. I'm not on the AI hype train. I don't use it in my business very much at all. But yeah, so for me, I try to use AI to like kind of build on things that I already do. So like
Mhm.
I was tracking my macros before with pen and paper and MyFitnessPal.
Mhm.
Dude, that shit sucked. If I cook a scrambled egg, okay, I have to go on MyFitnessPal, look up the egg, make sure it's a medium egg or a large egg, or scan the freaking barcode.
Mhm.
And then I have to look up olive oil if I used olive oil, or butter, 1 tablespoon of butter if I use butter. Every little thing, right? And it's just like a whole new query and a whole new selection and then all that stuff
Yeah.
every time. On ChatGPT, I go like this. Hey, I just used half a second spray of olive oil spray. I did 1 whole egg and I did 50 calories worth of egg whites. Log it. And I'll show
Nice.
you too. Like,
That's pretty cool, actually.
yeah, here's my, so I don't know if you can see this. but-
Yeah. Oh, it does all the math for you too. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it just keeps it in track. Like I don't have to use a pen and paper. Like it makes it super easy.
That's pretty cool.
Like for example, I had this for lunch. See this? These are swordfish tacos. They were
Yep.
fire, right? And what did I say? Where's my prompt? I want to show you.
Based on this picture, figure out what it is.
So I took a picture of the menu
okay.
item description. I said, "Don't lose my running total, but I ordered these tacos with no avocado. I'll send a pic when they come in, so you can kind of estimate it better." And then it gave me a pre-estimate, and it's like, send the pictures when you get them. I sent the pictures, and it's like, oh, based on that, it's like 6 ounces of swordfish, this and that, so I can verify, make sure it's
That's pretty
legit.
cool.
Adds it to my running total, you know?
Nice.
People always think tracking macros is so hard and stuff. It kind of
not
was
anymore.
hard when I first started, but dog, like, you know,
Yeah.
whoops.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so,
And one thing I wanted to ask you, so you're a family man.
yes.
You are running multiple businesses, and something that a lot of
Well-
our viewers are going to start to transition into, and myself included, is if you're going from a W-2 to now being an entrepreneur, how do you manage your time? How do you split it up? How do you keep the discipline? If your day isn't structured for you, how do you keep that structure for yourself? Didn't mean to stump you with that one.
No, I don't struggle with this anymore.
Mhm.
But I think it's just because I built discipline within myself. Like, you just have to start somewhere. I started out as a lazy fuck, bro. Like, I was not disciplined. I used to play video games all the time. I used to smoke weed all the time. I used to fuck off all the time. I would do like 1 hour of meaningful work and then, you know, literally fuck off.
So how do you transition? Is it like slowly, step by step, or was it
No,
like a
I
wake-up call?
almost went homeless.
Oh my God.
And I was like, fuck, I need to really lock in. And then I almost went homeless again, and I almost lost it all again. And I was like, fuck, I really need to lock in. I think eventually, I took way too long. Some people figure it out way faster than me. But eventually, you look yourself in the mirror, and you're fucking disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, you know what? That's it. Like, I'm going to be the man I know I can be.
Yeah.
And it starts, you can't make that change overnight, but you can change your direction overnight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started making disciplines and making good habits. And slowly over time, I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it started off most recently with my health habits, right? I started hitting the gym, tracking all my workouts, tracking all my macros, and I made a commitment. I was going to get into the best shape of my life. And it wasn't that vague either. It was I was like, okay, I'm going to be 10% body fat, and I'm going to put on at least 15 pounds of lean muscle over the next 16 months. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with this meal plan. I'm going to eat these macros every day. I'm going to do these workouts. Like, I had it extremely mapped out. And every day I did that, all the other areas of my life were affected by those disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like,
The gym is the gateway drug to self-improvement.
it was for me. Like, after I spent, the whole morning working out, tracking my workouts, hitting all my macros, what are the odds that I'm then going to drink that night? Very low, because like I already put all this effort in, and I'm like, am I gonna ruin all this good progress by doing this other bad habit? No. Before that, I used to drink like no problem. I was like, I'll just have a drink tonight. What's the big deal?
So
Dude, now I haven't drank in 6 months.
Wow. Congrats.
Right? I'm done drinking forever. Fuck it, I don't need that shit. It doesn't serve me. Seriously.
That's true. When you're super busy, like, yeah, it definitely takes some motivation out of, like, partying too much or drinking, because, like, it's going to kill your productivity the next day, and that is way more of a hit than the fun of having fun tonight.
Yeah, and you future pace. You're like, oh, I plan on working out tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't drink tonight.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to make my workout worse.
Because usually people look at the price of drinking is like just $20 for the drink. But the price of drinking is $20 for the drink plus all of your next day.
Yeah.
There's productivity. There goes your motivation.
Speaking of, one of my favorite parallels for that train of thought is, like, how much does a television cost you?
$300.
Wrong. 40 grand a year. 50 grand a year.
That's how many hours you spend watching it when you could have been doing something.
When you could have been working.
Mm-hmm.
And if you compound that,
yeah,
Christ.
If you're gonna watch something, do it like at the very end of the day when all of the checklist items have been done.
Fuck that. Just don't fucking why do you need to watch TV? This is what watching TV is. Pretend that TV's not there. This is you. This is you. Is that
So
the
you cut
best
it out
use
of
of
your life completely.
I use my television as a towel drying rack.
Oh, really?
I'm not even kidding. It's not even plugged in. I don't own the remote for it. It's kind of
Holy
there
shit.
as a decoration.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, when I was really on my grind, and you can ask Marco or Jeremy, the guys who lived with me when we were grinding on the wholesaling and flipping.
Mm-hmm.
The only television we had was about the size of your laptop monitor there, and we only used it to watch the Donald Trump press conferences because they were freaking hilarious.
Yeah, dude,
like when he first had his presidency. Oh my god.
It was like a comedy show.
And I was like big into trading stocks, and you could figure out what was going to happen by listening to those. Like Donald Trump one day was like, buy oil. I'm telling you all, buy oil. Do it right now. It's never going to be this cheap again. I remember buying oil. He was right. It was really easy money, But you can do that on your phone. You can do that without a TV. My point is, like, if you legitimately have goals, you're not going to want to watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of like, crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people really want to do.
Hey, man, extreme results require extreme actions.
Yeah, like, I don't really get along with most regular people. Like, I don't have much in common with them, to be honest, at this point. And I hope to continue this path.
Yeah, that's good. Cut out a lot of bullshit out of your life. And the people around you, if they're motivated by similar things, you will not only be able to like speak the same language and be friends with them, you guys will pull each other up because you're all going in the same direction. Nobody's trying to be lazy. Nobody's trying to do normal things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of value in that. It's like a filter.
Yeah, it's like kind of hard to be my friend these days.
Mhm.
Like
Good.
one, I'm boring when it comes to like I don't really do anything for fun. Like I don't go out to party. I don't go to bars. I don't drink.
hmm
Um,
I don't do any of those things either, to be honest, but I do like some extreme forms of fun, like work super hard, like whatever, 12-hour days, 10-hour days, and then everybody goes to like Miami for Art Basel, go hard. Then come back, work super hard, and then snowmobiling trip through, New Hampshire, for example.
and
on
it sounds to
trails.
me like that's part of your goals to
Mhm.
have those experiences, right?
Yeah.
For me, I've never been a big travel guy. I've never been
Oh,
a
okay.
big, and I have like one big goal that's been guiding me for the past like 6 years. So
Mhm.
I'll share this with you. Well, with you all, I guess. 6 years ago, when my parents got their house foreclosed on, our family home where I was living, and they went back to Brazil, they
Mhm.
told me that they weren't going to come back for 10 years. And I'll spare the details. But basically, I remember thinking to myself, I have 10 years to retire my entire family.
Mhm.
And I want to have like $10 million liquid in the bank so that when they come back, boom, mom, dad, here's the new house, here's the family
I love that.
compound, here's the fleet, here's everything you need. Let's do business together. Let's enjoy the rest of our life together. The sacrifice you made to come to America for a better
Mhm.
life for me paid off.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so interesting. I have
And
actually
so-
the same exact goal. I want to retire my parents too.
You do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I feel like a fucking asshole if I haven't done that yet and I'm
Mhm.
spending money in Miami or some bullshit. And I'm not trying to say you're an asshole. I'm just saying I have these personal feelings.
That's a really
when I think
really
about
interesting
it
way to
like
look at
that.
it, actually.
So I'll share that with you.
I love that. See
Yeah.
what a good guy he is.
Oh, please.
I love it. All right, guys. That's been another episode of the Freedom Real Estate Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thank you to our guest, Bruno. You can find him at Bruno Buys Houses on Instagram. And anything else that you want to share with the audience, or where can they find you besides Instagram?
No, Instagram's my main thing. I mean, I'm on Facebook too, but I'll
Mhm.
catch y'all on Instagram. Anybody who follows me from here, I'll follow you back. We'll stay connected.
Mhm.
And thank you all.
And if they want to buy LVP from you, is that available to customers everywhere?
It is. And you can find all that info on Instagram as well.
Nice.
And thank you, Artem, and thank you, Andrew, for having me. Always
Absolutely.
always a pleasure. Yeah, likewise.
Thank you. All right, guys. See you next week.
Take care.